Welcome guys, in this video you're gonna learn this, and my pizza's almost done, so I gotta go very quick. If you want to support me, you can go down there and I have some links. Bye!
So here we are inside Blender. This animation is not too hard, but it has some steps that you really have to follow. Otherwise you will get stuck, so please listen carefully. The first thing that we are going to do is delete the default cube and add a UV sphere. Now we can rename this to Metal Sphere. We are going to duplicate this and scale it a bit up. This is going to be our glass wire. So in this glass wire, we of course want to add a wireframe. But you can see that if we add a wireframe, we don't really get the shapes that I have in my animation. These longer and bigger triangulated shapes. So we need to use a decimate modifier. We can put the decimate above our wireframe, and I will show you what the decimate modifier does. So if I hide my wireframe, I can put this ratio of this decimate lower. And you can see that it collapses my model. So to get big triangles, you want to keep this ratio quite low. You can see here the face count, something around 70 or 80 will look great. Then, if you put on your wireframe, you can see now that we have a wireframe around these edges. Very cool. We want this thickness also a little bit down, so maybe 0.01. And this already looks great. So what do we want to do next? We want to spawn a sphere on top of each and every one of these connections. How do we do this? Very simple. We're just going to add a particle system and we're going to put it as hair. But the problem is our particle system is now lower than the wireframe and we want it to be above the wireframe. So now what we want to do is go to source, emit from vertices, use the modifier stack and turn off the random order. So now you can see that them instead being just spawned from somewhere in the middle, it's actually being spawned from these vertices. The problem is we have a number of 1,000, which we obviously do not have 1,000 vertices right here. So how do we know the amount of number that we need to put here? Well, very simple. You just duplicate this. And in this duplicate, you can just delete the wireframe and the particle settings and apply the decimate. Because the decimate is now applied, you can go into the edit mode, click on A to select all of the vertices and look down here to see how many vertices we have. We have 45. If you cannot see this, right click and turn on Scene Statistics. Now, 45 is my number. And I'm going to delete this and go in here and put in our particle system 45. It's as easy as that. So right now, if you look here at render, you can see that this is rendered as a path, which are these hairs. But we want to render something else. So I'm going to add a UV sphere, moved a little bit to the right here, scale it down and give it a shade smooth. And this is going to be the sphere that I want to be spawned upon here. So go here, render as, and we're gonna do object. Now we can select this as our instance object, and you can see that we have little spheres here. I personally don't like when the scale is different between these spheres and this sphere. So what I like to do is put this hair length at 1, and also the scale of the render object at 1. Now you can see that they have the same size, and if I scale this up or down, these move with it. So I'm gonna put it a little bit down to something like this. Now what I want to do is I want to have a little bit of randomness here because they're all exactly the same size. Select this, scale randomness just a little bit up, and here you can see that we already have some randomness in here. And this is exactly what we needed. But how do we animate this? Go into your modifiers and add a modifier. We're going to add a displacement modifier. You can see that this displacement now wants to also displace our wireframe. We don't want that. So it's going to be for sure above the wireframe. So now we can see that our spheres are also not lined up here with our glass wire. So we're also going to put it above the particle system. And this is it. So we first have the decimate, then the displacement, then the particle system, and then the wireframe. So that is kind of what you need to have now. Go to the displacement, and we want to add a new texture. You can click here, into your texture properties, and add another type. So type is going to be clouds. And here you can see that we have some displacement happening. So this is what we need to animate. But how do we animate this? Let's hide our sphere, and I'm going to show you how to animate this. Just add an empty plain axis, and we're going to select a glass wire, go to our modifiers, and instead of the coordinates being local, we want to put coordinates object. So now object is going to be this newly added empty. And now if we move this empty around, you can see that our wire starts to move. Let me show you though a little bit of a problem what we will bump into. So I'm going to put a wireframe here. Just let me do it, you don't have to do it. Then I'm going to go here and add a keyframe here. So now if we play it, you can see that it starts to move, which is great. But if you want to make this a looping animation, then the beginning and the end should be the same. So if I play this, you can see that it just snaps back. And that is not what I want, right? I don't want this to be snapping the whole time. So what you can do is very simple and very easy actually. And that easy method is just adding a curve, circle. Now you select your empty, go here into Object Constraints and select Follow Path. So we're going to select as target our Bezier circle, which we just added. If you animate this path, you can look in your Bezier circle at your animation, so path animation, and you can see that right now this is 100 frames. Of course, this doesn't match up with what we have down here, so I'm going to put this at 250. You can also do this lower, but just make sure that the frames here and here are the same. So now what will happen is it will play, and you can see that this empty will just rotate with this, and we get this cool animation. It just keeps rotating at a frame 250, and at frame 1, the animation is exactly the same, so we have a nice looping. So you can see that we don't really have any of these jumps anymore. So that is how we animate this. I think this animation is a bit too sporadic, it goes a bit too quick, and how do we change this? Well, just select it, go back into your texture properties, and you might want to change the size of this, like these clouds, this noise that we have. I'm gonna put it at the size of 4, and now what you can see is that it goes way slower. Now, inside modifiers, you could even put the strength a bit down if you think there's too much happening. So maybe 0.7. You can see that now it still moves, but it doesn't go as far as before. So, very cool. Now, get your metal sphere back. And here we can start to think about our camera position. So click on 0 to go into your camera view. Click on View, Camera to View, and you want to put this in the right position. So you can of course choose whatever position you think is right for your scene. I'm gonna put it here. What you don't want to happen though is that any of these little spheres or this glass wire goes outside of our camera. So you just gotta check a little bit, just go around here in your timeline. You can see that I need to move a little bit backwards, right? So a bit like this. And something like this would work. Awesome. So now you can start to think about the size of this metal sphere. You want it a bit smaller. You can do that. Give the shade smooth. Perfect. I don't want this camera to move anymore because I think it's okay in this position. So I'm going to go to View and then Camera to View. I'm going to turn it off so I cannot like move it by accident. You can also animate all of these other objects. So maybe you want to animate this sphere inside here. What you gotta keep in mind though, if you want to make this a looping animation, is that the beginning and the end frame are the same. So at frame 1 here, we want to click on I, do location. At frame 250, it's gonna be exactly the same, I, location. Now we can start to think about what we want our model to do. So at around half, which is 125, we want to move this a bit up maybe a bit up to the left. I, location. So what you will see now is we have an animation and it just goes very slow up, which is great. I don't want this to have any sporadic movements in this case. And then because our beginning and end frame are the same, we can see that it's a nice and looping animation. And you can put any of, like maybe you want at frame 190, you want to move it a bit more up, again to the right. That's all possible. Just play around and add some more keyframes to your liking. Now what we want to do is we want to start to think about the lighting, the background, and the materials. So I'm just going to fix the lighting first. Go to Shading, World, and add an environment node, environment texture, color goes into color, open, and we can open an HDRI. I get all these HDRIs for free at hdrihaven.com. Now I will use the Canary Wharf, and if I put on the viewport shading called rendered, this last one, you can see what my lighting is doing. Here we can see we have some very cool lighting, and we can start to play around with our materials. So I will go back here into our material viewport and just play around with these materials. So it's going to be super simple. I like to go here instead of Eevee to cycles. That is up to you though. It doesn't make too much of a difference in this case. But let's go to GPU and then I put the performance a bit up. So 256. So these are essentially the tiles. And yeah, that's good for right now. But what I want to do now is create some materials. So go back into object. And then let's create first a glass material. So you want to delete the principal shader and add a glass BSDF. BSDF goes into the surface. And we have a cool glass material here. We also want this glass material to work on these spheres. So I'm going to select this main sphere. Then just go down and click on this glass. So I can also rename this, of course, glass. And you can see that we have glass on this wire plus of these spheres. Very cool. And this middle sphere is going to be a metal ball, right? So click on new. And we're going to use the principal shader. That's totally fine. What I did is I just went on a little Google search for iron texture. So if we open this, you can see in my texture folder, I just found something like this. It doesn't matter too much. Just, yeah, do something interesting. And as you can see, it kind of works. But I wanted to also have some extra roughness in here and a little bit of a bump map. And because this iron texture, as you can see, is already kind of grayscale, it's already like black and white, we can use this also as a roughness texture. So here, just put this in roughness and add a color ramp. So color ramp, and we can change this a little bit to whatever we want. So maybe you want to move it a bit here. And you can even change the color, maybe not all the way black, but a little bit like this, so it gets more rough. But you can see what it does, right? So just play a little bit around with this color ramp. And we can create some, cool looking results. And I did the same with this normal bump map. So here, search, bump map. Bump map also needs a black and white detail. So I did here exactly the same thing. So add this color ramp here. And then this color into the height. And here we just want a very small height difference. You can see that now it's very extreme. Even if I change this color. So the strength just needs to go down. Just make it go down quite a lot actually. Just use very small numbers for this and it will already add to your realism. So as you can see, a very simple, a very just thrown together material, but it kind of works, right? And then we also want a nice background. So I just added a plane, rotate, and then move it way backwards, scale it up. And then add a new texture, delete the principal shader, and add a diffuse shader. BSDF goes into the surface, and here we can add a nice gradient texture. So we can just put it in here. You can see what this gradient does. So right now we have linear. You can put a quadratic, ease, whatever you want. But I like to combine this with our color ramp, because now you can add extra colors to here. So maybe I add one of these tops and change this one to black as well. You can see that now we have two of these parts here. So you can really do cool stuff with this. So you can change the colors. Like you don't have to be specific with black or whatever. You can do blue. Just do whatever you like. And then I rotated this a little bit like this. And make sure you scale it up. But something like this I did. And of course, don't feel constrained to whatever I do. That is why I rather explain like the concept behind it and how you do stuff instead of showing you exactly, oh, this is what you should do, this, then this, then this. It's not a step-by-step program, right? I want you to learn the basics of something and then build something cool with it with your own creativity. So that is it. And what I also used, which I think could be very handy, is some depth of field. So we can just duplicate this sphere here, move to the back here. That's here. Is it still in our camera view? Yeah, set it here. So I'm gonna make this a bit bigger. Just duplicate it over. And yeah, we can move this a bit around to whatever we want. Here, maybe one in the bottom. Doesn't matter too much. But what we want to do now is we want to select our camera. Then go into our camera properties. Depth of field. And we want to focus upon one object. I'm going to select our metal sphere. And what you can do now is you can play around with this f-stop. And you can see that if I put this lower, that the further something is away, the more it gets blurred, right? So you can, of course, go too far and everything gets blurry. But if you just choose a decent number, then the background gets blurred, which is very cool. And the object that you're focusing upon, which now is the metal sphere, is nice and crisp. So yeah, very cool. If you want, you can move these even more backwards so they get even more blurry. But it's totally up to you. Just play around with that, and you will see that they will get nice and blurry. In the rendered viewport shading, you can see that they are already getting blurred quite well. You can move them even back forwards or play around with this f-stop inside the aperture. So this is exactly what I did. I hope you guys learned from this, and I would love to see your renders. So please show me, and I will see you guys in the next part.